Three, two, one.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, and I'm here with Colin. Colin, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Hunter?
I'm good, man. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to all of you listening, by the way. We're going to have our first... we're going to have a couple Christmas reviews up here over the next couple weeks. Going to have a review up for the original Grinch, because I'm a huge fan of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Going to have a review up for Die Hard, which, hell yeah, I'm excited to review
Best
Die
Christmas
Hard.
movie.
I fucking love Die Hard. Yeah, Lethal Weapon takes place during Christmas, the original. So I'm gonna watch a little Lethal Weapon here this week, and we'll have a review up as well for Muppet Christmas Carol, because I love the Muppet Christmas Carol. So yeah, so we'll have some Christmas reviews up for you guys here soon, as well as of course this week for Rise of Skywalker. That's kind of a that's kind of a big deal. Some people want us to talk about that, but what we're talking about today is one of the biggest surprise movie sequels to one of the biggest surprise movies in the last decade, which is Jumanji: The Next Level, which, of course, stars everyone's favorite actor, Dwayne Johnson, who... Can we just talk about the fact that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is like the highest paid movie star right now, and he was wrestling, how long ago?
Feels like a long time ago, like a whole lifetime ago.
It does feel like a lifetime ago, but when you think about the fact that, The Rock was really full-time wrestling till, 2003, I mean, not even 20 years later, he's reached this level of stardom in Hollywood. I mean, I gotta give him credit for banking on, for betting on himself, because a lot of people laughed when he was like, I'm done wrestling. He, of course, was the Scorpion King in The Mummy Returns, and that CG does not age well, by the way. It wasn't even good back then. I remember even watching it going like, eek, okay. But it looks even worse now, somehow. And then, of course, he did The Scorpion King, which actually made money, which I was shocked to learn. But
I like the Rundown.
Dude, I love the Rundown. I think that was the
With
first
Sean
time
William
I went,
Scott.
okay, maybe he can, maybe this guy could be something. But he's become one of the biggest action stars in the world, and it's really crazy just how good and consistent his movies have been as far as making money. We didn't review the first Jumanji. I remember we both liked it though. That'd be fair to say, right? You were a fan of it.
Yeah, I do like the first Jumanji. I think it wasn't like anything like overly special or anything, but it was like a fun popcorn flick type movie. So I enjoyed it. I thought all the actors were funny and had good chemistry.
Yeah, and I think in this one too, because this is a sequel, so this is not for me as much fun as the first one. I'd probably give the first one like a B plus, probably maybe an A minus. So I mean, but the fact that I just didn't leave the theater irritated, with the exception of one part that we will get to, that made me go, okay, movie, out loud. I had fun with this. So quick story time before we jump into the actual review here. So we go see it in IMAX, because that was the only screening. That was kind of earlier in the evening. Colin's a new dad. He needs to sleep, or as much of it as he can get. So
yeah, can't be up till midnight. That'll be
yeah,
bad for
exactly.
everybody.
Yeah, fair enough. So we saw the movie at 7:30, and I will say too, the amount of previews they show, as often as I'm at the theater, you'd think I'd be used to it by now, but they show so many freaking previews. It's like, okay. I will say, we saw the preview for the new Bond. No time. Yeah, and seeing that on the IMAX screen. I think we're seeing that in IMAX in April when it comes out.
That and Top Gun Maverick. That was a pretty good trailer too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting more.
I actually
hyped
liked
for Top Gun.
I liked the Wonder Woman in the '80s trailer. That was was the
Wonder
first
Woman
time I
84.
saw that, and the IMAX I think makes everything a little better. Let's be honest when you're watching these
Oh,
big
absolutely.
trailers. But with the music, like the '80s music remixed in the background. I probably like the trailer way more than I'm gonna end up liking the movie, but I was like, that was a pretty badass trailer. I'm not gonna lie.
No, and I will give like I said, I will get. I reviewed the Wonder Woman 84 trailer, which you should go listen to. I really broke down a surprising amount of stuff in that 2-minute clip, but I actually really enjoyed the trailer. Seeing it on the big screen, I did go, all right, this could be. I gave the first Wonder Woman, of course, a fan-fucking-tastic. I think that's a little high. Probably should have gone A, but, what are you going to do? I'm excited for Wonder Woman 84, though. But Colin got to kind of see me in an awkward situation. I mean, not awkward, but I ran into an ex.
Oh, we're telling this story. Nice.
We're totally telling the story. Why not? So basically, you guys have heard my lovely girlfriend Alea on the podcast. When I first met her, I was seeing this other girl whose name I won't mention because potential slander. But but I was seeing this other girl at the time, and she was kind of dating around, just like, hey, this is casual. I hope that's fine. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, of course, I end up dating Alea, and I'm insanely grateful for that. I love you. But I hadn't seen this girl I was seeing since then. Actually, no, we saw her a couple months ago when we went and saw Ad Astra, and I kind of thought it was her. I was kind of like, wait, is that her? And I remember your lovely wife ended up running to the rest. Nikki, she ended up running to the restroom. I remember Ian saying like, "Hey, can we go outside?" Because I just really didn't want to have that awkward interaction. So I dodged one bullet. Wasn't able to dodge this one because she's with this guy who I used to work with, who I'm not a fan of, by the way. But they go ahead and just basically shove by. He's like, excuse me, and kind of just pushes his way through. She was uncomfortable as hell. She didn't even glance my direction. And so later on in the evening, at some point in the movie, it would have made more sense for her to just walk back through the aisle, but she legit walked down the stairs and looped all the way around the theater to just avoid being in my presence, which I'm not gonna lie, Colin, kind of warmed my heart a little bit. I was like, and you know how if you see an ex and I don't know, they have like a big giant like pimple or something like that, or they got fat, and you're like, oh, I made the right decision. like, dude, I'm sure you've seen like exes, and you look at Nikki, and you're like, oh man, such a great call. Like, I totally I do, like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, dude, I had that feeling. Like, I was looking at Leia, and I was just like, man, I so made the right decision. So, that was part of the fun of the movie. Also, there is this one line in the movie that we'll get to that I laughed at so hard.
Oh God!
And that no one
I know what you're talking about.
And no one else did, and it was just amazing. So the plot on this is really, if there is a complaint that you can throw at this movie, it's very much a video game movie in the sense of the plot is razor thin. There's really not a whole lot to it. Basically, the oh my gosh, I'm truly blanking on the actual kid's name. Spencer, who's played by Alex Wolff, who I really liked in the first one. He's just his life has just kind of gone to shit. He's living in New York, I want to say. Yeah, New York.
He's going to NYU.
Yeah, and he's just having a real bad college experience, to put it mildly.
Works at a convenience store.
Yeah, where the guy is just a dick, might I add. Like, he's on his phone, like, texting, which I know admittedly you shouldn't be doing at work, but it's like Christmas Eve. I'm like, dude, like, let him check in with his family, and he even asks him, oh, I'm sorry, is it tonight? Like, why are you texting right now? I'm like, God damn, dude, like, fucking chill a little bit. But he ends up going to this bus station, breaks the handle off of his suitcase in the snow. Like, he's just having the worst time. But then he's dating Martha. Martha is her name, who's played by Morgan Turner, who I thought was just cute as a button. And I think a big thing about this movie that does work is that even when Spencer and Martha, their avatars aren't on the screen, you do see that chemistry still that carried over from the first movie. But Spencer is having that early 20s, slash midlife crisis. I feel like mine's right around the corner, but but where he's just having such a shit time, he doesn't even want to talk to anybody. And I don't know if you felt like this. Did it feel like somewhat of a commentary on social media to you, this movie, a little bit?
How so? I guess I didn't see that too much.
So the reason I bring that up is because Spencer even tells Martha and Fridge. I love that nickname, by the way. That should be my new nickname, yeah, Fridge. I'm
gonna start calling you Fridge.
All right, hell yeah! I'm so about that. Hunter, Cat, and Fridge.
Perfect nicknames.
But Spencer even tells Martha and Fridge and Bethany, his three best friends, that hey, I wasn't really comfortable reaching out to you guys at points because I saw how happy you were in your lives.
Oh, okay, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And I did kind of go, like social media. I'm not going to go off on a giant, it's the worst. But social media, while it gives everyone a voice, and which is a great thing. I mean, you think about like the Me Too movement and just political aspects and all that, how we're able to connect with people and lift them up. We're also it's a very easy thing to tear people down on social media without, doing it face to face. So I appreciated that little point that the movie made. Speaking of tearing people down on social media, it's funny, I posted something to our Real Pineapple Facebook page, and Facebook, you can like boost the post or whatever. So I had a review. I boosted our review of like one of our films, and this guy like messaged me. He was like, "Fuck you and the Real Pineapple." I was like, "Wow." I was like, "What a dick." I was like, dude, okay, if you don't want to see the post, that's fine. Well, just ignore it.
That's how you know you're making it big time, once you just have like random trolls.
Yeah, oh, dude, I mean, hey, I thought it was only exclusive to Tyler Perry fans, apparently. Apparently not. But I appreciate that little social commentary on social media. Outside of that, though, this is a video game movie bare to bones, because the villain in this, gun in my head, I couldn't tell you what his name what his name was. I think the villain has maybe 10 lines of dialogue, if I'm being generous. Karen Gillan, because she plays Martha's avatar, and she's Ruby again. And I gotta say, dude, Karen Gillan, I've made no qualms about the fact that I'm half in love with her. I think she's just fantastic. Of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies notwithstanding, she's a pretty big badass in this movie. But I mean, her name's Ruby Roundhouse. I mean, what else could you possibly want? But they do lean more into the martial arts aspect of her character, which I thought led to some pretty cool fight scenes. I will say too, dude, I think we brought this up. The CG in this movie, did it just look rougher to you this time around?
It definitely at parts. There's scenes that it was like, okay, that was fine, but IMAX also doesn't hide anything. Like, if there's some rough edges, like IMAX is going to be the place where you're going to be able to notice them. And I mean, there's definitely certain parts where it's like, maybe got a little lackadaisical on the special effects here, because that most people are not really going to care.
Yeah, I thought that was so freaking. There's a scene in particular where Dr. Smolder Bravestone, of course, Dwayne Johnson's character, he's like beating up all these guys, and it looks like PS2 graphics at a point. I was like, okay, where he's like clotheslining people, throwing them through walls and shit. But Spencer comes home. Spencer comes home from NYU. I think it'd be for like winter break. He runs back into his grandpa Eddie, played by Danny DeVito, and I love the fact that Danny DeVito is in here basically playing Frank Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't like you don't get a toe knife reference, unfortunately.
It's like a slightly more wholesome Frank Reynolds, like New York Frank.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much that, and oh my god, it's so funny though. But Grandpa Eddie, he had just had a hip surgery, and there's some good physical comedy actually with Grandpa Eddie and his hip, which I mean, like pratfall stuff, but it had me laughing though. But Grandpa Eddie, Spencer, Martha, and then Fridge all get sucked into the game again. Spencer. So I remember at the end of the first movie, they like disposed of the game, like they like locked it up. If memory serves.
Well, they break it.
Oh, that's right. They broke it. Thank you.
So it's like broken into a bunch of pieces, but it turns out that Spencer actually went back and collected the pieces and saved it.
Yeah, which I gotta be honest, dude. For the plot, it really made me hate Spencer, because I was just like, dude, you selfish fucker. Like, what were you thinking? But
oh yeah, Spencer is a total piece of shit in this movie.
Yeah, like he actually, I was getting more Scott Pilgrim vibes from him. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, why are you just such a selfish asshole?
Yeah,
and I was getting
super angsty. Like, woe is me. My girlfriend looks like she's so happy, so I'm miserable. Like, he was pretty pathetic. But like, you know, I'm sure it's relatable to like a lot of like young people that are, you know, having a long distance relationship. I'm sure it's, you know, there's lots of potholes that you can fall into, so it laid that out pretty well. But yeah, he's a selfish prick in this for like going back in and making everybody like have to go save him. Very selfish, Spencer. Not cool, bro.
And as someone who's done long distance, like it's not easy seeing the other person, you know, living without you. But at the same time, I wouldn't drag myself into a video game that could kill me to go ahead and, you know. But I did appreciate the fact that while Spencer is a selfish piece of shit, it is for a reason. I think you hit the nail on the head, that a lot of people, you know, going through the college experience will go, oh yeah, like that does actually make sense.
Yeah, like I don't, you know, you can't blame him for wanting to be the Rock again. Like once you're the Rock, like you know, you want to mainline that into your veins. Like I mean, that's how can you go from being the Rock back to being Spencer? I mean, it's a believable plot line. You know, it makes sense that he would be like, hey, I don't know if I really want to, you know, fully get rid of this game, you know, like, you know, I'm just gonna have a little stash of this drug just in case I need it. And then like once things get really hard, he's like, okay, I need that drug.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fair. Now, I know you say that Grandpa Eddie was your favorite part. I think I have to slightly amend what you're saying there. I thought my favorite part was Grandpa Eddie and Milo, played by Danny Glover, who, I gotta say, man, I guess we are talking about his acting, because he's getting too old for shit. Because Danny Glover, like, I love Danny Glover, but he's starting to look like a melted milk dud. You know, like but Danny Glover's gotta be what? He's gotta be almost 80.
Is he 80 now? I mean, it sounds right.
Oh my gosh, 46. Oh my god, I can't do math. 46. Oh yeah, 73. He's born July 22nd, 1946.
A little bit before 80.
A little off. But I gotta be honest, man, if I met Dan Glover tomorrow, I would lose my mind. Like, I'm just such a huge fan of his. Yeah. He's actually in a movie that might be on my best of list this year, The Last Black Man in San Francisco. He's amazing in that. And we haven't reviewed this together, but we should.
What is Badass 2 Badasses with Danny Trejo?
That's that film series that Danny Trejo does, where it's like he's old, but they just throw him to a random like town and he kills a bunch of people.
You're never too old to kick ass. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I need to watch that.
We should review that. But we haven't reviewed it together, but I loved him in The Old Man and the Gun. Yeah. I thought he was great in that. Mm-hmm. I was so happy to see Danny Glover again. And the best chemistry in this movie for me is between Grandpa Eddie and Milo, which I don't know what that says about everyone else, but I thought their chemistry, even when they're not in the game, just initially talking to each other, Milo comes over and just talking to Grandpa Eddie, and Grandpa Eddie is treating him basically like someone selling Watchtower. He's just like, go away. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And that kind of, it made me want to see them do a grumpier old men like remake. Like, I'd watch that. Dave DeVito.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would watch that.
Right? So they get sucked into the game, and okay, this is where it's kind of starts to get a little iffy, I'll say. So you get Grandpa Eddie and Milo in the game. So The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's doing a Danny DeVito impression. Basically, he's because he's Grandpa Eddie, and then Kevin Hart, who, if you guys have listened to the podcast for any length of time, no, I am not a fan of Kevin Hart in damn near anything. So
I kind of like him.
He's very hit and miss. Like Night School Alone, just in Soul Plane. Whatever. Anyways, but Mouse Finbar, that's Kevin Hart. He's doing an impression of Danny Glover's Milo, and I gotta say, dude, comedically, and I know some people might go, "What the actual fuck?" It's one of my favorite comedic performances all year between the two of them. Like, they're riffing because The Rock has to do an impression of Danny DeVito playing this character, and then Kevin Hart has to do an impression of Danny Glover's character, and the amount of comedic timing they're able to get from each other as far as keeping their banter up, I think this is one of those times you have to give The Rock credit. I think The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's earned it at this point. I really do think that people underestimate him and don't give him enough credit for being an actor. I know he's been typically, giving people rock bottoms and hitting people's chairs and slugging people in most of his movies, but this is a great comedic performance by Dwayne Johnson, and this is probably the most range he's had to show, if we're being completely honest, because he's even got the whining down, like, he's like, yeah, he's like, I went ahead and I retook my driving test yesterday. Like, he's doing that's a horrible impression, but he really is committing to the bit, and I really appreciate that, especially for someone who's not a trained, comedian. Kind of your thoughts on their performance?
Yeah, I didn't love it. It's like everything. Yeah, everything you're saying is like. That's not my problem with it. My problem is like the direction that the writing chose to go for this movie, which was to, once they got into the game, they basically were like, hey, remember everything you liked about the first one? That's all gone now. Like, now The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, well, I guess she's the same character, but Jack Black is now Fridge. So like everybody changes, and like Jack Black is funny doing Fridge. Dwayne Johnson is Dwayne Johnson is funny doing Eddie, and Kevin Hart is funny doing Milo. Like they're all funny. Like, it's all good, but this is where the movie just kind of lost me, because I kind of did like the characters I was used to. So now it's changing it up for me. The Rock everybody's different now. And it creates this precedent that the movie takes even further later on, where it's like, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Like, we can all of a sudden switch Martha and Fridge. Like, now Fridge is Karen Gillan. And I was like, and there's some comedic elements to that as well. But the fact that, like, nobody's character is safe until finally near the end, which we'll get to. They all switch back to how they were in the first one, and that's where the movie kind of got me again, but then there's a big part that loses me. And it involves who Milo becomes.
Yeah.
As far as, like, it was enjoyable, this is, like, once they're in the video game, and just to comment on the start, like, I really liked the start. I liked how they were, they're heading with the plot. They really made Spencer kind of like a not good character. He's kind of the main character, but he's so flawed. He's kind of a piece of shit. He doesn't text any of his friends. He's really woe is me. Like, I just want to go be by myself and become The Rock again. But his friends, who are way better people and are looking out for him, are like, we got to pull Spencer out of this funk. Like, I liked that aspect of, like, friends lifting up their friends and keeping everybody good. But, like, once they get into the game, then it's just, like, scene after scene of just, like, a bunch of shtick, a bunch of, like, crazy, like, ostriches in the middle of the desert chasing people on ATVs, because fuck it, like, why not? Like, we're just making it up as we go along at this point. Like,
there was really no... like, they could have said, like, the hint, like, the bad guy was controlling the ostriches or something, but they couldn't even do that.
Yeah, that part was ostriches. Just like, are you ready for some random ass shit for the next hour and a half? Because here we fucking go. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm kind of in the mood for that, so let's go. And then watching it with you, all of these movies where like some of the stuff that like I maybe not would think like not laugh out loud funny, like you're dying next to me like laughing so hard. And I won't ruin the Nick Jonas joke that I know you want to talk about later.
Yeah,
but
please.
But like just all those jokes, like Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson going back and forth, like that was funny. I liked it better when it was actually Danny DeVito and Danny Glover. But them doing their impression, like you said, they're doing a good job at it. I can't knock that. I was like, I liked the characters I knew. I'm getting old. I don't like change. So that coupled with the randomness of ostriches and the ATVs, I was like, okay, the movie started to lose me a little bit once we got rolling.
So I will say the CG on the ostriches it's like Crash Bandicoot, man. Like honestly, like they might have looked better in Donkey Kong Country if we want to go back that far. It
was like the ostriches in Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, and actually those ones probably had more facial expressions. Like it does lead though to a really great bit where they try to jump. They pull a Homer in that Bart the Daredevil episode where he's trying to jump the canyon. Like they try to jump the ATV and Dr. Bravestone's like, we're gonna make it, and they fall like. It is video game logic because they hit the edge of the cliff and they all should have died. Like actually, now I think about it, how didn't that cost them life considering they went like head first into whatever. but I agree. There is definitely some stuff here where you're gonna roll your eyes. I think what got me though is that you do get Milo and Grandpa Eddie. The fact that they reconcile in the game the way they did, it's almost like a good version of Spy Kids Game Over. I know no one has probably referenced that movie in like 20 years, but if you guys remember in that movie when Sylvester Stallone costs the kids to Grandpa like their legs because they're on that mission or whatever they're on, they have that reconciliation, which I just thought even at 13, I went, that's bullshit. Here, it actually made sense why they would reconcile. And I did appreciate the fact that they had them owning a business together to really kind of build that friendship up. I thought that was a very nice little wrinkle in it. I went, okay, you would have some bitterness about that stage of your life, ending, and you not knowing what to do with yourself. I mean, that's something I can't even imagine how just, bad of a feeling that is. So I like the fact they made it personal like that. But again, I will be the first to admit that there is just some stuff that occurs here that when they start switching bodies, it's because of this element that is introduced that I don't think they even really define. Just the water turns like turquoise and they jump in the water at the same time together. And what body swap? It's like, okay, like what was the water? Why is it doing this? It's never explained. So there is a lot of shit like that where you just kind of raise an eyebrow and go, okay, sure, I guess. I did want to talk about the action though, because we talked about the one ostrich race, if you will. Dude, I thought that that scene you see in the trailers where it's very Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. Like let's be clear, it's not original, but I thought the way they had I can't think of the actual not apes, not baboons. Like they look like baboons. Though,
yeah, they're basically baboons. I don't know what the species is called, but they they make sure that Kevin Hart educates you that they're not baboons. They're bigger. Yeah,
and creepier looking if I'm being honest. But they don't all look like Rafiki, but I actually really like that set piece. That's actually the best, I think, action set piece they have in the whole movie. Kind of your thoughts on that?
I like that one, yeah. I liked it better than ostriches. I don't know why, but like I didn't like when they weren't in the jungle. I don't know. I was like, I don't like that they're in the desert. I just like, I didn't like it. I kind of didn't mind when they went to the snow, but like, I don't know. I just feel like Jumanji's supposed to be in the jungle. Like, I know it's like a video game, and like they're commentating on the fact that like video games, you always go to like some different microclimate to like do the next level. But I don't know. I just like when they're in the jungle. So I think that was my favorite part with the baboons.
No, that's fair. I mean, for me, I was just more irritated I didn't love the snow stuff, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought the movie kind of came to a crawl.
I like that they got
actually.
new uniforms.
Yeah, I did
I was
like that.
I was like, that's very video gamey. That like, okay, everybody gets a cool winter costume now.
Yeah, that's what happens when you pre-order or you get a season pass.
Yeah,
you
there
know?
you go. You get that extra money out of those poor kids.
Yeah, which is one reason I am gaming way less than I ever have, if I'm being honest.
Why I never buy EA games anymore.
Dude, oh god, we could do a whole podcast on that, but EA stopped being greedy. Anyways, but one thing I really did like about this movie too, I'm gonna bring up it, and I'm just a huge fan of this actress. And I haven't reviewed it yet, but I did just watch the Farewell. I'm a huge fan of Awkwafina. I think she's just fucking amazing. I am a unapologetic fan of Crazy Rich Asians. I think that movie's amazing. I thought she was great in Ocean's 8. She was in between two ferns in the movie, which I just... that movie just killed me. It's so dumb, but it's so funny. And just watching The Farewell, she's fantastic in that. And I thought having Danny DeVito change into her, I wonder if people will be offended by it. You know what I mean?
I just kind of liked Awkwafina being Danny DeVito more than The Rock was.
Really? Can you tell me why? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I liked Awkwafina's impression. I thought it was funnier. I mean, like the Rock was fine, but I don't know. Awkwafina's was like more exaggerated. It was kind of more over the top. I don't know. It was just funny. I liked it. Once she became like. Plus there was comedic elements to like just the fact that like now Danny DeVito is like a small Asian woman instead of like a giant imposing man.
I mean, true. I did love the whole bit about Milo, Grandpa Eddie's hips when they're in the video game. They're like, "Oh man, look how limp I am! Like my joints feel like Jello." I think that's. I don't know if that's my Danny Glover or.
I was gonna say that sounded a little bit more Milo-y.
Yeah, I think I was going. Yeah, I think I was going for Milo there, but. Okay, so we have to kind of talk about the end here because, again, we've been going off tangent because there's really not a lot of plot to talk about.
Well, because that's how the movie is.
I mean, fair.
It's random as hell.
Also kind of how our podcast is. But so Nick Jonas, oh my god, he's so hot. Insert dumb bite here. He's in this playing Seaplane again. Yeah. And
I swear to God, if they were going to kill him too, I was going to be like, fuck Spencer big time. If this poor dad... like goes back into the game and dies and can never see his kids again because Spencer was a selfish piece of shit. Luckily that did not happen, but I was like, Nick Jonas, you better not die or I'm gonna fucking hate Spencer.
Yeah, no, I agree because I was kind of sitting there going, oh man, this would kind of be the spot to pull the whole sacrifice bit,
right?
And we kind of, to an extent, it's not really a sacrifice, but we'll get there right now. So. Here's where the movie, I just went, all right, movie, I've been giving you some rope, and you just went, okay, like, this is not enough rope. We need more, because Milo gets turned into a horse. He becomes a horse avatar in the game. And
so
that Ming is writing. Honestly, dude, I kept thinking Mulan. like whenever she was on the horse, I was like, oh yeah.
Well, I think Bethany's the horse first, right?
Yeah, Bethany's a horse at first, and I feel like we haven't talked about him enough. Dude, Jack Black's great in this.
I love Jack Black.
When Fridge is Jack Black, he's basically talking like he makes a couple of jokes about white people. Fridge himself actually makes a joke before they go back into the game, going like, "Oh, I gotta stop hanging out with white people," and I was just like, "Same, dude, same." I totally I feel that in my soul, but when Bethany becomes Jack Black again, that shit is just it's so good. Like, she's like, oh my god, guys, we're back in Jumanji. You know, it's like it made me laugh. Like, admittedly, kind of a cheap joke, but still very funny to me. The part I could not forgive is where Milo becomes the horse.
Yeah.
At the end, so basically the whole thing with this movie is that they have to get this jewel and put it near the sun, or it's something like that. Or they have to speak the game's name.
Get the stone, like hold it to the sun, and call out Jumanji's name.
Yeah, put it in the gauntlet, and then go ahead and call out Jumanji's name. So the way they get to the sun is that they have oh my gosh, who's it's Dr. Bravestone flying it, right? Or is it some
I think it's Aquafina.
Oh, you're right. It is Aquafina. You're right. It's Ming. It's Ming. So Ming is on Milo, and Milo just starts running towards the edge of this cliff, and you're like, okay, what the hell is happening? And Milo turns from a horse into a flying horse, just like that.
You called it earlier, though.
Like I did,
because they said something about the horse or something, and I remember you leaned over to me and you're like, "I swear to God, if that horse flies."
Yeah,
and I was thinking the same thing, and I just started laughing. I was like, "I bet you that fucking horse flies."
And the horse, like, it was such a piece of foreshadowing. I was like, "Oh God, don't make the horse fucking fly." When the horse flew, I just went, okay, movie, I have to ding you for this because...
I was shaking my head. So bad. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, because we both were laughing at the concept of this horse flying, because in our heart of hearts, we've been doing this for a while. We know the horse is going to fucking fly. Yeah. It was just
writing was on the wall.
Yeah, so that was just absurd. But the hardest laugh, and I can actually say that the hardest laugh I got this whole movie is when Nick Jonas's character, the horse, is captured at a point, and so Seaplane goes ahead and basically has to do this like puzzle to go ahead and get to the horse. And which I'll be honest, dude, I kind of thought that scene was actually well done. The whole kind of puzzle they had, like a la Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. Like, as far as you have to step on this part of the floor to not get hit. I actually really like that. Again,
yeah, I mean, it's. You prefaced it kind of the reason why I was just like, yeah, okay, we've all seen this before. What are we doing?
Yeah, no.
But I mean, but it makes sense. I was like, okay, it fit. I will admit that it fit the circumstances.
But so Seaplane goes ahead and saves a horse, and the first thing he says is, "Oh, hey, what's wrong? What's wrong, girl? Why the long face?" And Colin will tell you, I laughed so fucking loud in that theater.
And the thing is that so it wasn't a packed theater by any means, but there was like scatterings of people throughout the theater, and a lot of people were enjoying the comedy of the movie. There was a lot of people laughing throughout the movie, but at that joke, why the long face, everyone was like quiet.
Not a laugh.
Hunter had the most boisterous laugh he had that entire movie. Which made it even funnier to him, so he just kept laughing. And I had to slouch down in my seat. I was like, oh my God, Hunter, I can't see movies with you.
Dude, I honestly laughed for probably 30 seconds straight. No shame in my game. I was dying. I was like, Nick Jonas, you didn't know you're a comedian too. You sing and you act. What can't you do? but
the Hunter version of comedy brilliance.
Yep, there you go. But I mean, to wrap up here, is this a movie that, I mean, this won't be in my top 10 or anything, but I mean, this was fun. I own the latest Jumanji. I do need to buy the original. Why don't I own that? Should buy that. Anyways, but I had a lot of fun with this. This is something you can take the kids out to see. You can definitely take the kids this weekend because the theaters will be full for Star Wars. So maybe you do a double feature, But and this did well too. It opened up over $60 million.
A lot of the theaters are probably going to be. Well, a lot of the showings for Star Wars are probably going to be sold out, or first couple rows only. And I bet you a lot of people will kind of they'll be overflow into Jumanji.
Yeah, so I mean, I personally think that this movie might. I don't think it'll have the legs that the last one did, because the last one it just kept hanging in there, making like money here, and the last one, I think people forget, almost crossed $1 billion. Like, it was a very successful movie for Sony, which is why they greenlit a sequel so quickly.
Yeah, it's surprising it's Sony.
But, yeah, right.
I mean, good for them. They don't make a ton of big budget successes anymore.
Yeah, no, true. I mean, unless Spider's in the title.
You're right, unless Spider's in the title.
So, I mean, but hey, like I said, this is one of those movies I do think is going to have legs. I don't think it'll have the legs of the first one, but I'm happy to see it's doing well. I love all the main actors in it, so I'm happy to see them being something that's going to be successful. I'm torn on this because we paid full price to see this. I would not pay full price. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this
certainly
is
not IMAX price.
Yeah, this is not a full price movie, but I think this is a perfect see this Saturday morning, Sunday morning after church movie. Take the fam, take the kids, early matinee and enjoy this. So I'm going to give this a B-.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, it's like it's a decent little wholesome family movie. It's gonna, kids are gonna enjoy it, probably because they're not super into like whatever the plot lines mean or what's going on. It's fun. It's just like a lot of different scenes where you throw some pretty funny, successful actors together. Jack Black, Dwayne Johnson, and Kevin Hart all playing off each other, and then Karen Gillan is always lovely to see on screen. So all of it's there to like be a good sequel, but like I did kind of like the first one. I liked all of the personalities that the game characters were portraying. I liked how the plot was starting out, but the movie just kind of lost me. The parts with the two grandpas, like that would have been a better, smaller subplot to me, but it felt like it became like the main plot.
I agree.
Throughout the whole movie, and it's kind of like the big, ending to the movie. It felt like the subplot between Martha and Spencer was the subplot. And then just the way it ends with Awkwafina talking to a fucking horse before they fly off and like end the game is supposed to be like this big emotional moment, and I'm just like, it's Awkwafina talking to a CGI horse. Like you're not gonna get me like on the way you're ending this movie. I thought it was terrible. I hated it so bad that it really.
Damn.
No, it did, like I hated it. I hated the way this movie ended. It's so stupid. But most of it is like it was fine. It was like a fun movie going experience. So it was a better grade. It got dragged down a lot near the end and kind of the second half. So I'm gonna give it a C.
You C? Okay. Wow. We're a little off on that one.
Yeah, I knew you were enjoying it more than I was, but I did. I think you probably brought it up. If I would have saw this by myself, it may have fell into the D range.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, and I probably would have gave the first Jumanji like a B plus, somewhere around there. Like I really liked the first Jumanji, but yeah, don't feel like I'm gonna be watching this one again.
Okay, I mean, I honestly, dude, if they do a 2-pack of it, so here's why I gave it a B-, because I think, so there is a little post-credit, so there's like a mid-credit thing. I don't believe there's a post-credit scene, but they do put a little stinger on there. And I thought the stinger was very interesting. I went, okay, because they clearly set up for a third one, which they will make. And honestly, man, I'm kind of intrigued as far as how they'll end this inevitable trilogy. So I kind of bumped up a little bit for that, but I was right there on C plus B-, like until the horse joke bumped it to a B. No, I'm kidding. But
I would watch it again. Like it's cool to see The Rock and Kevin Hart and Jack Black all together, and Karen Gillan. Like if the four of them get together for a third, I'll probably go give it a chance for sure.
And I will say too, this is the most Kevin Hart's made me laugh in a while. I gotta give him credit where credit's due. Because again, normally doesn't make me laugh, but between this and Hobbs and Shaw, he's made me laugh this year. So
I love Hobbs
good
and
job,
Shaw.
Kevin Hart. Yeah, the best movie of the year.
I may get frisky and throw it on my top 10. I don't know yet.
Oh yeah,
I'm feeling frisky. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Probably the
I'm
most fun
like,
I had in theaters all year, and that'll probably stay the same because we're almost over with the year.
I'll be honest, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the theater experience almost as much as I enjoyed Endgame. I'm not gonna lie. Like, for a completely different reason,
it's
obviously.
like you can't even compare the two.
But I mean, as far as how much fun we had and
like,
just how much
I wouldn't say Endgame was nearly as much fun, but like I enjoyed Endgame better.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, we had so much fun with Chris and just laughing at how absurd the movie was. So,
oh my god, some of the greatest scenes in all of the Fast and Furious franchise history in that movie.
Yeah, I really do need to buy that in 4K. I don't own that yet.
I just need to see The Rock with a chain pulling a helicopter down and attaching it to a car again. Please, I just need to see that now.
Just all the time.
Yeah.
Just that on loop. That should be a gift. But
there's so many. I can't even remember all the amazing scenes. I'm like trying to think of them. And it's like there's so many more that were so great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the word. I will say the CG in Hobbs and Shaw at points was pretty hokey, just like in this. So The Rock's being. I'm sorry. You're right. How dare you criticize the best movie of the year?
It's a perfect movie. There's nothing wrong with it.
But guys, Jumanji, have you seen it? What do you think of the first one? Do you think this is a big drop down, like Colin clearly does, or you think it's just kind of a minor step down, like I think it is? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can go ahead and like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearmanthefirst. By the way, Scott is still part of The Real Pineapple, but he's got school, so he'll be back for our summer movie season. He says hello to everyone, including you, Colin. And,
hi, Scott. I miss you.
We miss you, buddy. And then you can follow Colin on Twitter at
TheReelOneal.
And you can go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. You can go ahead and follow us on here we go. Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, and Stitcher Radio at The Real Pineapple. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up this weekend for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, which, God help me, please be good.
Yeah,
don't make me, dude. Yeah, because Last Jedi,
if you have not have any beloved characters milking things that squirt out green goo, like just for the love of God.
What you want to see? Oh, dude, what if that's like the last Carrie Fisher footage? What if it's just Carrie?
They go back to the island that Skywalker was on. Just starts fucking milking that thing again.
I think I'd give it a go fuck yourself just on principle. 100%. If that's what, like, so. Hopefully it's not that, but we'll have reviews up for Rise of Skywalker, as well as, oh god, I can't believe I'm seeing this, for Cats. God help me, I'm not excited.
I'm really glad you didn't get a screener for Cats.
Yeah, trust me, if I did, you'd be lucky. But I will suffer on that island. I think I'm gonna go see it Thursday night. Yeah. Actually, no, I can't. I've seen Star Wars Thursday night.
Definitely using the baby excuse on the Cats.
That's completely fair. You can just listen to the review about how great it is, question mark. But yeah, I'm not excited.
And
but
hopefully Hunter's friend can't go see Star Wars, and then I'll see that.
yeah, and I'll keep you updated on that. Yeah. But guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Take care, guys.
Bye.